Good evening and welcome to Triad News 360 for March 28, 2018. This week we are doing a special sports show. I'm Gus Curtis.
And I'm Sean Wrinkle. Tonight we will be jumping into all things sports.
We will be starting by talking with Olympic gold medalist Bode Miller while he was in South Korea.
And we'll visit March Madness before turning for home behind the pit wall of the Daytona 500.
The High Point University teams, so you won't want to miss a thing. Starting with the Winter Olympics just 1 month ago, the United States took home a total of 23 medals, placing them fourth in the overall medal count.
One name that hasn't been heard in a while but might sound familiar is Bode Miller. This famous American alpine skier announced his official retirement last year after becoming the only American ski racer in history to win medals at 3 different Olympic events.
Bode Miller was there for this year's Winter Olympics. His new home was in the announcer's box rather than the slopes. Triad News 360 reporter Juliet Jacob spoke with Bode during his time in South Korea to discuss his successful career.
And in comes Bode Miller, looking for victory number 2 on the World Cup Tour. Bode Miller!
Two-time World Cup alpine ski racing champion. World Championship gold medalist.
The tip-in is off the course. Bode Miller has the gold.
Olympic gold medalist. Bode Miller is America's most successful male alpine ski racer of all time. His unorthodox skiing style has been described as overly aggressive and erratic. A guy who never holds anything back.
I think the primary driving force is preparation. I mean, ski racing is not a safe sport no matter what you do, but if you're not prepared to do what you have to do on race day, it's really dangerous, and the consequences of a mistake or a crash are so severe.
Growing up entirely off the radar, homeschooled and without electricity, sports stardom came to Bode with its fair share of difficulties.
Regardless of whether or not you're able to sort of slough off the pressures or things like that, there's a lot of negative aspects that go with fame and with sports success. You have sponsorships and obligations that come along with it, so you definitely feel like a part of your life has been taken from you. But I'm not really sure that many people would change their decisions, but it feels that way at the time, and that's obviously tough, especially for young people.
Since his retirement, officially announced in October 2017, Bode has been able to further his newest passion, thoroughbred horse training. But Bode does promise one thing. So long as the sport of skiing is around, he will be a part of its world.
Thanks, Juliet. Bode Miller has participated in 5 Olympic Games, winning a total of 6 medals. A lot of fans will be watching to see Bode Miller in the winner's circle at the Kentucky Derby at some point. And Tubby Smith is back home coaching at his alma mater. Smith, 66, played college basketball for the Panthers from 1969 to 1973. He then began his head coaching journey. Smith was fired earlier this month after a 2-year stint at Memphis. With a 5-year contract in hand, this will be Smith's 7th head coaching job in the college ranks. He previously coached at Tulsa, Kentucky, where he won a national championship, Minnesota, Texas Tech, and Memphis. Smith was 40-26 in 2 seasons at Memphis, including 21-13 this season. He will be taking over a High Point team that was 14-16 and 9-9 in the Big South this season. Sources told ESPN that Andre Fox, the team's leading scorer at 15.7 points per game, requested a transfer, but is now caught in the NCAA transfer rules and has been denied his release.
The Final Four is this weekend, and the national champion will be crowned Monday night. But as the NCAA tournament comes to a close, it is also the end for a lot of college athletes.
For some basketball players, it's their last chance to play as part of their college teams. Emotions run high as these last games are times for not only the players to be filled with excitement, but also for the students to be filled with school pride.
Triad News 360 reporter Jack Bridgeford went to the Wake Forest senior night just to see the excitement of Wake Forest face-off against the powerful Notre Dame.
Family as the Wake Forest Demon Deacons celebrated their senior night as they graduate 4 seniors in their final game of the year against the Notre Dame Fighting Irish. This game would be an offensive shootout, which would include a game high from senior guard Mitchell Wilbekin, who led all Deacs with 14, in front of a lively crowd on Saturday, February 24th. Coach Odom and company would fight to hold on to a first-half lead, but that effort would not be enough to topple the Notre Dame high-powered offense, led by senior Matt Farrell. Farrell would run down the clock and bury this three with just 5 seconds remaining in the game to seal the deal for the Fighting Irish. Devastated, the Wake Forest seniors will walk off the floor of Joel Coliseum for the last time. Notre Dame coach Mike Bray was asked after the game about his team's performance in their comeback win.
Would have liked to have Bonzi the last 2 months, but is there
Sure.
a silver lining in that?
Well, I mean, yeah. I mean, you look at the guys that have stepped forward. You know, even a Nick Chogo tonight, he doesn't score, but he's got 9 rebounds and plays 32 minutes. I don't know how Pfluger played tonight. He's really hurt. I'd take my. We maybe can make a run at this thing, especially after today. Our pulse is still there after today.
Thanks, Jack. A game few graduates will ever forget, for all the students to come together for that senior night.
Those Deacon seniors will never forget their last home game, losing to the Fighting Irish on a last-second three-pointer.
Just like senior nights, watch parties are a great way for students to come together to celebrate their school with pride.
And with the chaos of this year's March Madness, anything can happen.
Triad News 360 reporter Angelo Petrucci went to UNCG as the Spartans made it into the big dance.
It's March, and that can only mean one thing: March Madness. It's contagious. Everybody thinks they can win before the tournament starts, even the underdog. Numerous students gathered together for a university-wide watch party at the University of North Carolina, Greensboro. Their school spirit and support were obvious as they cheered on their Spartans. UNCG qualified for the NCAA tournament by winning the SoCon tournament. They won 27 games this season, making it the winningest season in UNCG men's basketball history. And their reward? A 13 seed and a date with Gonzaga, a tournament powerhouse and last year's national runners-up. A tough matchup, no doubt, but it's been done before. But what does it mean for a smaller school like UNCG to have their team playing on the national stage? We talked to a couple of students to see what they thought.
It's really cool to see all of my classmates excited for once about UNCG basketball. 4 years ago, we only won 11 games, and to now be a 27-win team, you can just see the jubilation and the excitement in the air. People are looking forward for games that were coming up throughout the season, and now that we're in the big dance, there's even more excitement to come in and watch the game. And I think it's just contagious, and I hope it continues.
I would definitely say the vibe has been more upbeat. People are excited. They're going to the bookstore to buy their t-shirts, and everybody's been talking on Twitter and stuff and on social media, so I would definitely say the vibe is just a very excited, and we're ready to see where this is going to take us.
The campus was definitely buzzing with excitement. UNCG eventually fell to Gonzaga 68-64 in a game that essentially came down to the final possession. A valiant effort for sure. For Triad News 360, I'm Angelo Petrucci.
Watch parties are a great way for students to be at the game, even though they are still on campus.
Absolutely. And with such a close game to powerhouse Gonzaga, only losing by 4, what better way to experience the thrill of big games?
Speaking of big games and nationally ranked teams, let's go live to Triad News 360 sports reporter Kevin McMahon for a recap of the High Point women's lacrosse game that just wrapped up. Kevin?
Live from First Stadium, it's Kevin McMahon, and the High Point University Panthers beat the Drexel Dragons 21-10. The High Point Panthers are number 25 in the country. This is their second week being ranked 25 in the country, and they beat Old Dominion last week. But this week, they're 25 again, and I feel like today's game was a little bit of a chance for the Panthers to send a message to the committee that they're not afraid to play with the big girls, and they need to be treated as a premier program. And they really put that out there today. And offense was definitely on display. Brooke Stevens, she had 9 points today, 5 goals, 4 assists. And Abby Horms, I'll fight you if you tell me differently, she's one of the best freshmen in the country. And she had 5 goals today as well. So really tremendous offensive performance for the Panthers as they win 21-10. They're in action again this Saturday as Big South play starts up, as they're going to host the Radford Highlanders as they try to defend their crown as Big South tournament champs. All right, that's all I got for you here from First Stadium. We're going to send it back to the studio. Sean Wrinkle, how's it going, buddy?
Thank you, Kevin. The High Point University's lacrosse men's and women's teams have both been faced with unknown territory this season. Dedication, perseverance, ambition. These three words perfectly describe the High Point University men's lacrosse team for the 2018 season.
Though they currently are standing with a 1-7 record this year, they've competed against the highest ranked teams in the country in their division, such as Maryland and Duke.
This gives the men's team the hardest lacrosse schedule in the country. Triad News 360 sat down with their two senior leaders, Connor Robinson and Jason Ashwood. They were able to take us into the family of the men's lacrosse team and the strong bond that fuels their drive. Stay tuned next week for the full story.
Let's not forget the women's team. They are so good this year. They cracked the national top 25 standings for the first time in school history.
Both teams have had to learn how to hold themselves up in these new yet opposing situations.
The High Point University's lacrosse teams have both faced unknown territory this season.
The men's lacrosse team has had to face the most difficult scheduled season in the nation this year, while the women's lacrosse team has gone on to become nationally ranked, the first time in school history. Cloudy and 37 degrees might be a little cold for North Carolina, but it's great running weather. The Dash for Down Syndrome took to the streets of Liebauer Park in Greensboro this past weekend. The race was not the usual 3.1 miles, but a 3.21 distance. This represents the third copy of the 21st chromosome that is present in those with Down syndrome. A few ran the race for speed, but there were a lot of families and friends who took a more leisurely pace or even walked the course. The first 400 finishers received medals and probably headed to the nearest hot chocolate.
Coming up next here at Triad News 360, we are going to a pole vaulter that really knows how to fly.
Also, we're going behind the scenes of the Daytona 500 to make our way to the Miller Center of High Point University. We'll be right back after this.
Littering is a problem that is slowly destroying our Earth, one piece of trash at a time. $11.5 billion is spent each year cleaning up litter among the United States. Cigarette butts account for 50% of all litter in America. Be responsible with your trash. Wait till you're near a park or gas station to safely throw away your trash in a trash can. We only get one planet. Stop the littering.
I want to eat apples and bananas. I need to eat apples and bananas. Why can't I eat apples and bananas?
Support the Feeding America nationwide network of food banks to help provide meals to those in need. Join us at feedingamerica.org.
Welcome back to Triad News 360. I'm Gus Curtis.
And I'm Sean Wrinkle.
It is the Super Bowl or World Cup for NASCAR, the Daytona 500. Ever wanted to take a closer look at what takes place behind the wall at the Daytona 500?
Triad News 360 reporter Ashley Gase had special access to this exclusive area and is ready to give us the inside look.
A lot of people never realize just how much work goes on the sidelines of, am I talking or no?
Fans parked their RVs and campers 2 days in advance to get ready for the Daytona 500. When the gates opened for the third consecutive sold-out year, over 100,000 fans poured through the gates to find their seats for the biggest race in NASCAR. 40 cars started the race as Triad News 360 got an exclusive look behind the pit wall to see all the behind-the-scenes action every fan dreams of. From the roaring engines to the sounds of the air guns, during a pit stop, fans from all over the world came to see the Super Bowl of racing. Fans come from all over to watch the best drivers in the world. Isaac Rowling, who is from Iowa but is currently stationed in the Navy in Jacksonville, wouldn't do anything to miss it.
My favorite track is Bristol.
Bristol. And how many races have you been to?
In my life, I've probably been to about 20 NASCAR races.
With just 2 laps to go, a huge crash affected several cars during the front of the pack, ending their chance to win. As they are getting close to the finish line, there was one more crash. In the final lap, Austin Dillon survived it all and was able to cross the finish line first, ahead of the remaining 15 cars that were still in the race. This is Dillon's second win in the Monster Energy Cup Series, with his first win being the Coca-Cola 600 at Charlotte Motor Speedway last year. Austin is also a former High Point University student.
A lot of people never realize just how much work goes in on the sidelines of the racetrack and what a team effort racing truly is.
That's right. I mean, it's amazing to get such a close inside look. It gives you a better appreciation for the sport as a whole. Track and field season has officially begun. Track athletes are ready to dominate in their individual events, but some athletes will fly higher than others.
Pole vaulters train to clear new heights every year. Soaring feet first over an obstacle so high in the air must be quite the thrill.
Triad News 360 reporter Emily Johnson recently caught up a high-flying, up-and-coming track star.
Natalie Elliott is breaking records all around in pole vaulting with a personal record of clearing 3.95 meters, which is higher than an average basketball hoop, ultimately breaking High Point University's school record of 3.9 meters. In our interview with Elliott, we asked her what her biggest career goals were and what she wants to achieve in this upcoming season.
Well, my senior year, I broke the district record and I placed first. So that was my biggest high school career. And this past winter, I placed first at conference for Big South. My goal for outdoor season is place first again at conference and hopefully get over 13 feet or 4 meters.
For completing her goal of coming in first at Big South Conference for a second time, she is vigorously training and working with her coach, Scott Houston, to strive to reach this goal.
For me, the greatest thing about being a coach is the impact that you can have on others, helping them, grow confidence and figure out how to accomplish their goals.
What are you looking to see out of Natalie this outdoor season?
Consistency and just a continued pursuance for greatness. She's doing really good so far, and I just want to see her keep the same attitude and work ethic move into the outdoor season.
Elliott in the past has also earned Big South Weekly honors by being named Big South Women's Field Athlete of the Week in January 2018. What makes this so remarkable is that she is just a freshman who's only been pole vaulting since high school. With her already placing first in the Big South Conference as a freshman, the question is, what is up next for this competing athlete?
How impressive is it that she's only a freshman and yet she's already headed to the top of her field?
Extremely impressive. Best of luck to her and her track and field teammates as they compete this season.
We're all excited to see what Elliott will do in her promising future at HPU.
As the freshman pole vaulter is just beginning her college adventure, many are finishing and looking on to life after college sports.
With March Madness still gripping the country, the High Point University's basketball season is over. But how tough is it for those who have played so hard for so long to face the end?
Triad News 360 reporter Taylor McLaughlin joins us from the Millis Gym at High Point University while she shoots some hoops with a graduating senior. Taylor?
Thank you, Sean and Gus. I'm here at the usually very noisy Millis Center at High Point University, where both the men and women's basketball teams have completed their season. We've had quite a few seniors this year who have dedicated their entire lives to playing the game of basketball and whose careers have come to an end. I'm joined here today with one senior in particular, Bree Davis. Hi, Bree. Hi, So, Bree, I know the beginning of your senior year, you tore your ACL and were out for the entire season. How did that impact you, and what role did you play for your team this season?
It impacted me by taking me by surprise, for sure. No one wants to come to your senior year. You've played your whole life playing basketball, and you want to go out with a bang and suffer an injury. But it definitely changed my role for the better, making me become a better leader and seeing things on the court from a different point of view and helping me help my teammates.
Okay, well, let's take a walk over here and see you get up a couple shots. Let me see. Well, by the looks of it, I feel like that knee is moving pretty good, and you're really pretty stable. The shot looks pretty good. And that being said, I feel like you're mobile enough to take a fifth year. Is that something that might interest you?
Definitely.
And would you do that here at High Point or maybe somewhere else?
if I stay at High Point, it's definitely a blessing, but if not, I'm prepared for the journey.
Okay, I think that would be great. Well, you know, the journey will come to an end at some point, and every college basketball player doesn't want it to end, but we all know it will. So we need to think about futures and careers and things like that. So would you mind sharing what your major is and what your career plan might be?
My major is exercise science, and I really love helping people, and I want to become a nurse and hopefully apply to nursing school and become a nurse practitioner.
Well, I definitely think you'll be able to help a lot of people. And with that being said, as your career goes on, you've been dedicated to basketball your whole life. You've been a student athlete, you know, you got to school, you got through school by playing basketball. Now that basketball will eventually come to an end, whether you take a fifth year or not. Does that scare you? How do you feel being thrown into the workforce with no real preparation?
I feel great. I feel like basketball definitely prepared me for life outside of school and life outside of basketball. It helped me deal with time management and stuff like that.
Well, thank you, Bree. We wish you the best. That's all we have down here in the Miller Center. Back to you, Sean and Gus.
Thanks, Taylor. Life after college sports can sometimes be hard to adjust to. Sean, you're still competing and have a special tournament coming up. Where are you going?
I'll be going to Gold Coast, Australia.
And what are you doing?
I'll be wrestling for the 74-kilogram weight class.
Who are you representing?
I'll be representing the Bahamas national wrestling team.
When did you start wrestling?
I started wrestling in high school, freshman year.
And how does it feel to represent your country?
I feel tremendous pride, but also a pressure to compete well. But I know that my teammates, as well as my coach and the Olympic Committee, are supporting me, so it feels really good.
That's really exciting. During Triad News 360 for April 10th, we'll talk to you live from the Commonwealth Games from Australia to catch up on how you're doing. And thanks, Sean.
It'll be really fun. I'm looking forward to it. Coming up next on Triad News 360, a panel of March Madness crazies and their thoughts on the Final Four.
And a Panther sports update. We'll be right back.
How am I going to pay for this? Well, Thomas, you've got pre-diabetes. But with more exercise and a change in diet, it can be reversed.
I've tried exercising. It just makes me hungry for bacon.
I love bacon, too. And who really likes to exercise?
Not me.
Me neither.
Nobody. So we're good?
What? Oh, you still have pre-diabetes. Big time.
Welcome back to Triad News 360. I'm Sean Wrinkle.
And I'm Gus Curtis. Have you been keeping up with this year's March Madness tournament? If so, then you know just how unpredictable it has been.
In the first round, top seed Virginia experienced a blowout loss to 16 seed University of Maryland, Baltimore. And from there, everyone's expectations for the tournament turned around.
Joining us live in the studio tonight is a group of March Madness enthusiasts to talk about a college student's perception of the tournament so far.
Thank you, Gus and Sean. The NCAA Final Four was announced over the weekend, and tonight we have a panel that's going to discuss each of the 4 March Madness contenders. The first semifinal game, Saturday, is the matchup between Loyola Chicago and Michigan. Loyola Chicago Ramblers, the 11th seed in the South, have Cinderella in a region where Virginia, Cincinnati, Tennessee, and Arizona didn't make it out of the first weekend. The Ramblers' road to San Antonio included last-second wins over Miami, Tennessee, Nevada, and a comfortable win with Kansas State University in the South Regional Final. The Ramblers shot 52% from the field during this run, while the team chaplain, Sister Jean, has taken the spotlight, with the Ramblers have made their way through the great play with players such as senior Dante Ingram, redshirt junior Clayton Cluster, and senior Ben Richardson. As they are set to play Michigan, they need to focus on shutting down the 6'11" forward, Mo Wagner. For a look at the Michigan Wolverines, Kelly is here to tell us about that. Kelly?
Thanks, Ashley. Well, Michigan is in the Final Four for the first time in 5 years, and they're representing the #3 seed. Some argue that Michigan is going to be the best defensive team left in the tournament this year, with important wins over Montana, Houston, Texas A&M, and Florida State, with a buzzer beater against Houston to win the Sweet 16. Their most recent game was when they defeated Florida State with a score of 58-54, with star player and shooting guard Charles Matthews, who's a transfer student from Kentucky, was named the West Region Most Outstanding Player and scored double digits in all tournament games so far. Michigan plays Loyola Chicago on Saturday at 6:09 p.m., which is predicted to be a battle of who wears out the other the fastest.
The second game will be Kansas versus Villanova. Jack, what do you have to tell us about Nova?
Well, Kelly, the Wildcats are looking strong as they've won all their games by double digits to get to this point. They lead the nation in scoring. They're shooting 50% from the field, and they have that ability to get hot early, especially from the three-point line. You've got Jalen Brunson, a senior guard, All-American and Player of the Year. He's truly the heart of the team right now. Mikal Bridges at forward, a possible lottery pick in the upcoming draft. He's a knockdown shooter as well as a defensive threat. You got two big men down low who can crash the boards and create those second chance opportunities. The keys to the game for this team, turn the ball over a little less and keep up the defensive play.
Up next, Brett Kramer on the Kansas Jayhawks. Brett?
Well, for the Jayhawks to get to the final, they're going to have to rely on their two key players, Devontae Graham and Malik Newman. Now, Devontae Graham, before he even entered the tournament, was a finalist for the Wooden Award, which is given to the top player in the country. Now, Malik Newman was a breakout star in the tournament. He's shooting 50% from the field, and he's shooting 50% from three also. Out of the players left in the tournament, he has the most points per game and is looking to score a lot on the Nova defense. Now, for Kansas to actually make it past Villanova, they're going to have to play stout defense and shut down Bridges and Brunson, the two main scorers for Villanova. They're also going to have to make sure they drive inside and then kick it out to their two big three-point shooters.
The NCAA semifinal tournament games will be at 6 and 9 o'clock this Saturday, March 31st in San Antonio, Texas. The winning teams of each game will then prepare for the national championship the following Monday night, April 2nd. March Madness 2018 has been filled with lots of excitement and disappointment. Back to you guys in the studio. Sean, Gus.
That inside view of one of the craziest March Madness tournaments ever.
And let me tell you, as crazy as ever, it doesn't get any better if you like sports. Panther Sports is next.
And a new basketball boss is in town. We'll be right back.
Littering is a problem that is slowly destroying our Earth, one piece of trash at a time. $11.5 billion is spent each year cleaning up litter among the United States. Cigarette butts account for 50% of all litter in America. Be responsible with your trash. Wait till you're near a park or gas station to safely throw away your trash in a trash can. We only get one planet. Stop the littering.
How am I going to pay for this?
I want to eat apples and bananas. I need to eat apples and bananas. Why can't I eat apples and bananas?
Support the Feeding America nationwide network of food banks to help provide meals to those in need. Join us at feedingamerica.org.
Welcome back to Triad News 360 Special Edition Sports Show. I'm Gus Curtis.
And I'm Sean Wrinkle. Joining us in the studio is Triad News 360 sports reporter Mike Taylor with the latest on Panther sports. Mike?
Thank you, Sean. First up for the High Point sports announcement. In a major announcement, HPU introduced alumni Tubby Smith yesterday as the new men's basketball head coach, replacing Scott Cherry. Last season, the Smith coached at Memphis, where his team went 21-13. This is Smith's 7th Division I head coaching job. Smith's career record as a head coach is 597 and 302, an impressive win percentage of 66%. And this includes winning a national championship in 1998 at Kentucky. He has also been named the National Coach of the Year 3 times, and most recently was named the Big 12 Coach of the Year in 2016 while at Texas Tech. Smith played for High Point from 1969 to 1973 and was inducted into the Athletics Hall of Fame in 2016, to which a banner hangs in his honor in the Mills Center. Smith is one of only 2 coaches to lead 5 different teams to the NCAA tournament. He hopes to make HPU number 6. Moving on in High Point sports, the High Point University baseball team continued its success in the Big South by winning 2 of 3 games in a weekend series against Radford. The Panthers swept a doubleheader on Friday, 7-3 and 15-6. Seniors Hunter Lee and Carson Jackson both homered in the second game of the doubleheader. HPU dropped the final game on Sunday, 18-6, and the Panthers are now 4-2 in the Big South. The Panthers were back in action last night at UNCG, dropping the contest 12-6 in a non-conference matchup. Moving over to lacrosse, the High Point men's lacrosse team traveled to Richmond on Saturday to take on the Spiders. Coming off their first win of the season against Bellarmine, the Panthers wanted to continue that success. Trailing 5-2 at the half, HPU managed a comeback led by Connor Robinson with 5 goals, only to be ousted by Richmond in the closing seconds of the game by a final score of 15-12. The Panthers look to bounce back against Jacksonville Saturday afternoon at Vert Stadium. And for women's lacrosse, team has had a great year so far with a record of 5-2 and a top 25 ranking. The Panthers have been led by solid play from their 2 leading goal scorers, Darla Poulin and Erica Perota. With their 2 losses to top 10 teams, the Panthers are primed to make a run in the postseason this year. Tonight, the Panthers take on Drexel at 4 p.m., looking to extend their 4-game unbeaten streak. Finally, for sports, it will be a very busy weekend for High Point University's women's track team, as they'll host the Bill Webb Combined Meet starting Thursday and will also compete in the Raleigh Relays over the weekend. With that, that's all for sports. Thank you, Sean and Gus.
Thanks for the little update. Will be fun to follow how High Point changes to the new boss at the top. Unfortunately, that's all the time we have for tonight. I'm Gus Curtis.
And I'm Sean Wrinkle. Thank you for joining us for the Triad News 360 Special Edition Sports Show. You stay classy, High Point.